Hey GlamFam, Linwood here, and this is my friend and longtime client Keke in the chair. I am going to be doing a style on her, which to me is rather simple. It's what I call a lazy sew-in, and we're going to be using some of the big, beautiful hair. But before that, I'm going to be using the smoothing lotion from the Moroccan oil line. It's for one thing, it smells fantastic, but it's great for prepping that hair if you're going to be blow drying it out. I always work products into natural hair with prayer hands because it helps out with not disturbing the curls and allows me to evenly distribute that product a bit. I always massage my client's scalp as well, as you will see here momentarily, because the massage helps to stimulate the blood flow and the circulation, thereby helping out with growth to their hair. So I'm now using my Denman brush. Yeah, you guys thought I just said I love those. No, I literally have like 17 million of these. I love my Denmans, and I'm detangling that hair with it, and you guys can see how easily this glides through any knots or tangles in the hair. My Denman is amazing. If you don't have a Denman, I'll link one in the description box below. You need one. So this is a deep shine oil. It's amazing. You have to say it like that. I'm going to put about, I'd say, a nickel to a quarter size amount in my hands and work it through the hair, massage it into that scalp area, all of that. And then from there, I am going to roughly separate out the bottom of her hair and begin blow drying with my FHI heat blow dryer. And again, my Denman brush, because it's all purpose and it's wonderful and you should buy one. Why haven't you gotten one by now? So I'm blow drying this hair out just to smooth it out as much as possible. I like using a paddle brush for this because it helps to give a bit more tension to the hair without a huge degree of work, especially if I'm going to be braiding or pressing the hair later. So this is after I've done the entire head pretty much with the brush, and you guys can see I'm just going back and smoothing, making sure she's pretty dry at the scalp and smoothing that hair out as much as possible. So yeah. From there, we're going to go ahead and prep for my braiding. So I've got infinity clips that I'm putting on my shirt because I don't have a wristband on today because I'm slacking on my macking. And from there, I'm going to go ahead and separate from just behind the ear, just in front of the crown, between the crown and the apex, and over to the top of the other ear. And we're going to go ahead and braid this back section I have pulled off here. The front, of course, is clipped out of the way. So in this section, I'm going to go ahead and separate out, and then I'm going to clip off the excess, tilt that head, and begin cornrowing. Now I'm going to be braiding this in a circular pattern all the way around the back, and the reason why I call this a lazy sew-in is because honestly, I'm not doing these braids near as small or even as structured as I typically would. This is not meant for long-term wear, especially since we're going to be using some synthetic hair. I want to ensure that I am not spending years on something that's going to take... it's not going to have a ton of wear out of it. I mean, it will, but not as long as human. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, so we're just continuing this braiding process throughout the back, as you can see, until we are completely finished braiding, which you can see here. So once I've done that, you can see I braided all the way into a circle until I was done, and then I'm going to stitch the ends of that braid down. So that's going to help to keep it from popping out, anything like that, and help it to lay nice and flat back here. So yeah, it just helps. Once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and tie off after I get to the ends. And from there, I'm going to apply a net. I already have the net pre-cut, so yeah, just to save time. And then from there, I'm going to stitch that right onto this section of hair. This is going to help to hold everything nice and smooth. And while I'm sewing, it allows me to stitch where there is not a braid. So it's pretty nice because it allows me to have an extra bit of security, no gaps in her weave, all of that loveliness. And yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and stitch that all the way around as well. You don't need to see all that. It's pretty basic. Once we've done that, I have some of the big, beautiful hair, which I will tell you guys is synthetic hair, but it is excellent. It lasts a really good amount of time. This is in the 3C whirly texture, and this is in the color 1B and 30, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that into this back section where we just prepped with the net, stitching it all the way across, and I'm going to do the fold over method just to save on time. Plus, honestly, like I said, it doesn't make sense to do a whole lot of intricate detail work on this because, like I said, I call this a lazy sew-in. Can't be a lazy sew-in if you're not lazy. For all you overachievers out there, you can't do this sew-in. Sure, you can. You just got to be lazy for it. So we're going to go ahead and continue that process of stitching. I zoomed in a bit more so you guys can kind of see what's going on here. And then from there, just fold it over, stitch that corner down so it doesn't get bulky on you, and then keep on moving right on across the back of the head until you get all the way up to the top, like I'll show you here. So now that we're up at the top, I just love editing. It makes everything so much faster. Now that we're up at the top, we're going to go ahead and begin stitching this across the top. Now, I do want to stitch this track upside down just so that way I have plenty of coverage and no braids are showing. So I'm flipping that track forward and then stitching. Doing this allows me to have a good degree of body. It allows me to hide those braids as well as the tracks, and then I can just flip it back over when I'm finished, thereby allowing me to have that nice full look. So I'm going to take the tail end, and instead of passing it across the top, I'm actually going to pass it into this little gap section right here in the middle to close that up. And that's how we'll get into all of that. So you guys can see, fold it over, stitch it on in there. My client Keke and I are talking, so of course that's why there's so much hand movement going on there, because, child, we be talking about some good stuff. I love talking to my clients. They're amazing. You can learn so much in the salon. Thumbs up if you've ever worked in a salon and your clients teach you. Like, my clients tell me the news because I don't watch TV. They keep me informed. Anyway, so I'm going to pull this back over and then just adjust as necessary, fluff this hair out some, and then I'm going to pin it out of the way and focus on the front. From here, I'm going to get some beeswax just for the outer edge. I don't recommend this for regular use, but whenever I'm pressing the hair out, especially on those edges right in there where that shorter hair is, it really helps out with keeping it nice and smooth so she can look well groomed and loved. Because, you know, I want my clients to look like I love them, because I do. From here, I'm pressing with my miniature flat iron, which if you don't have one of these, baby, they are a lifesaver. I honestly do all of my work with a 1/2-inch iron. As you can see, I do not like the 1-inch irons as much. I use them from time to time, especially if I'm feeling uber lazy, but really for an amazing press that gets all the way down close to the scalp, I'm all about the small irons. So I'm just going ahead and doing a press. Notice this is one pass. I tap at that scalp area and then press out. I have it at, I think I had it at 380 that day because I don't usually go above that for her hair. Even though she's got a pretty good coil pattern to the hair, her hair is actually incredibly fine, especially after she had her baby. Her hair texture changed altogether, which is why she's natural, because her hair can't do relaxers anymore. So just to give you a touch of history there. She's going to hate me for allowing y'all to see all these grays, by the way, but she'll be all right. So Sam's Beauty sent me this Ebon Edge Tamer, and I'll say I've been using it. I told you guys I would and let you know the feedback. And let me tell you, I love this stuff. I went ahead and bought a full-size container, so I'm sold, literally sold. I'm going to apply that around the edges. Look how well it lays those. And then from there, we're going to pull all of this hair nice and smooth. So you guys can see I'm just placing around those same edges. We're pulling it up into a ponytail. And see how fine this hair is? This is why we're adding in excess hair. Because even though she's got a pretty good length, that thickness is just not naturally excessive. And I want to ensure that we're helping her look luxurious and slayed to the heavens. So yeah, that's what's going on. So I spritz with a bit of the Freeze and Shine spritz from Paul Mitchell. I like it because it doesn't dry the hair out or leave it hard. But it does leave it pretty nice and shiny as well. So now I'm using some braiding hair. I'm just going to attach that to this ponytail. I'm going to flip it, and then we're going to separate out her hair with this, and I'm going to 2-strand twist or rope twist this hair like so. I showed you guys the brand of it, but honestly, this is just some standard beauty supply store hair. My favorite type of hair, by the way, is by Rasta Free. If you haven't tried them, you should. They're amazing. I know a lot of people love expression hair. I'm not on that train. From there, I'm just going to create a bun up here, and really I'm just placing, I'm sorry you guys, we are chewing gum and we look like two crazy fish with all this chewing we have going on. But I'm just going to place it until it looks right. I pin it one time, and then from there, I start stitching it in place. And I'm going to stitch it to this top track just to merge the two together. And then from there, I'm going to stitch it to the hair that I have up in the ponytail underneath. Now, I know some of you may be wondering, like, why on earth are you sewing this down? Honestly, it's because of a number of different reasons. So it adds to the security of the style. You don't have to worry about pins sliding and jabbing them in the scalp later. And it honestly makes your styles last a lot longer without having things pop loose or anything like that. So I don't have to see them back for minor fixes. You're welcome. All right, so from there, we have a finished look, as you can see here on Keke, and I'm gonna go ahead, well, it's not finished yet. I'm gonna go ahead and separate this out some, see how it looks to me, and then from there, do some necessary cutting and placement, things like that I want to do. Sometimes it'll be a little long and kind of scraggly in some spots, so I like to trim that hair down some to ensure that it looks exactly like I want it. After that, I just went ahead and spritzed with some of the Paul Mitchell Freeze and Shine just to lay down any flyaways. And here is your finished look. I'm just giving her a turn. You guys can see no tracks showing. Look at the lazy sew-in pushing through. This is a really easy style that lasts her for about a good 2 weeks or so. Honestly, she could wear it longer, but we got to make sure that we tend to the needs of that scalp as well, so we don't do that around these parts. From there, we are good to go. Thanks for watching, you guys, and stay glam. Bye-bye.